hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another Love Wisdom Live on Facebook video. If you're watching it live on Facebook at the moment, or if you're watching on YouTube channel, I welcome you and I'm grateful for your presence, for being here. So I'm Monica Bermudez, and I am an intuitive self-love energy healer. And I am sharing love wisdom messages as I am intuitively guided. So this week I want to talk about trust and about the Sacred Heart within each of us and talk a little more about that. I have been feeling very inspired since the beginning of this year of 2021 of getting lots of download information. So I do have a lot of love wisdom messages to share with you and the world and humanity as a whole. And there is much movement going on with the energies. As I was feeling this week, I felt like my body was readjusting to the new energies that have come in since we went through that huge portal and gateway from the 21st of December, which is the solstice. And when it had the whole Jupiter and Saturn conjunction. Welcome, Jessica. I love seeing you here. Blessings to you. And thank you for being live. And so I feel that the energy somehow, like my body has been readjusting itself. So I felt so almost like emotionally drained, as though something was super exhausting. And it's almost like we're leaving the old energy from 2020 and even before that. And we've gone through this huge, long journey as a human species for a long time. And we're trying to jump into this new body of energy. And thank you for that, Jessica, for sharing. And so I feel that it's taking a toll from the many human lifetimes and experience, and that's what I was feeling. And at the same time, I was feeling that it's almost like I did a lot of birth in 2020 when it came to, and I'm speaking metaphorically, of course, speaking from energetically speaking, because I had to really shuffle into what I'm doing now as an energy healer. And what I've been called to do is to come out more in public and start the business that I call Sacred Heart Awakenings. And at the time when all of this was put together, of course, that is the message that was coming through as part of my business structure. And of course, I'm working with a divine feminine energy flow, which means being open to flexibility and exploring other areas where the energies will take me and where my guides want to take me. And it took a lot to get there. Now, it may seem or look easy as though, I'm speaking right now in public and Facebook Live, but it actually took a lot for me to come out and do this because I had to overcome a lot of my stage fright of speaking in public in this open forum of Facebook messages and shares that I share with you now. And so I had to really break free from my own doubt and shed away my own energy of the shadow aspect. And all of it was coming from past lives. It wasn't just, from this lifetime. And I know that in past lifetimes I've been an energy healer in many different types. And because of that, of course, we, most of us, and especially for me, I've been persecuted, of course, and so there's been a lot of that trauma. So it was very hard for me to keep an open heart and trust in what my guides were telling me was this higher calling to fulfill my soul contract agreement, which we all have our own soul contract agreement that ties in with our own soul purpose and what we're doing here in life on this earth. And so the energies that are coming in right now on this earth are coming in very strong, and they're really pushing us forward into this action. And so fear will come up, and there will be doubts, and there will be moments of despair, because there's a part of you that, growing up this whole lifetime, in this lifetime, there's aspects of you that have identified themselves to the life that you have built around you, or created, in other words. So you've created your own reality of your own life. And then when changes come in, like the situation of the COVID, and it just shakes your world, and it just shakes everything about you, that you start to question even your own identity. So the same thing happens when you go through your own heartbreak, and you have a certain heartbreak when it comes to loss. And there was a lot of that in 2020 because of the situation with the pandemic. And so that also happens when it comes to divorce, when it comes to breaking up in relationships, romantic relationships, and even friendship relationships, that you may have had for many years, and even with family members that you feel that you must keep in touch with because they're your blood relatives. But then when you find that it's not suitable for you, it's not a right, healthy environment, then you start to break away from that pattern, that unhealthy pattern. So yes, that feels like a loss. And it is a loss, actually, to the heart. And it's really heartbreaking. And so because of all that trauma and fear and anger, it just makes the heart feel closed. And so it produces this signature pattern in your cells. Blessings to you. And it produces these patterns of energy that makes you not want to trust again, or and when you don't feel like you can trust, then that's when you know that your heart is closed to even try to open itself, because it's afraid that it will get hurt again. And sometimes you may not even be consciously aware that this is happening, because it could be at a subconscious level inside of you. Because remember, we've lived many lifetimes, not just this one. And in those lifetimes, we've had those traumas and those lives that we've been so hurt and so heartbroken. And pieces of our hearts are just shattered in these different timelines from the past. But it's all stored within the cell at the quantum level. Now, scientifically speaking, there are many layers, or many studies, there are many studies of scientific information showing how all of this is being stored in the cells, and it's being referred to as the quantum physics, the quantum mechanics. And there's been so much push and study in this field that I feel that especially now that we're in the age of Aquarius, it's going to expand even more in technology and everything. The knowledge is just going to explode, and we're going to see some of that probably this year coming through. And a lot of the information that the scientists are finding, of course, is based already from an ancient knowledge. This has always been known. So I never really resonated with the terminology of New Age information, or New Age world, as they used to call it, or I guess it's still being called that, because to me it's always been ancient knowledge. It's just been hidden through certain organizations or other places, or underground information that's been kept secret or private for a long time, until the world would open up again and everybody's consciousness would become expansive and aware. And that is where we're heading, because the energies are pushing us to be more expansive, and consciously aware, and to expand our mind and our hearts. And love is the way for us in expanding and ascending, because ascending is another word for expansion. And so this is where we're heading. And so the energy is really pushing us to move forward, despite what may be happening around your world. If you're in fear at the moment, then it's time for you to really start working on yourself and jumping into the new and embracing this energy that we're being pushed into, because change is going to come one way or another. Yes, Linda, technology did change that. I believe you're talking about some of the studies with the science. So that's where it's all leading, and technology is going to grow and expand even more, where that's why scientists will start to discover a lot more information that was already mentioned by many of the ancients. And because our ancients also had a lot of the advanced technology, and a lot of that also got lost in the history of so many things when we went through our own separation. There was an article I was reading earlier this week where actually Keanu Reeves, who is the actor for the movies The Matrix, and not sure if you've seen the movie, but if you haven't, I highly recommend it. It's a movie from the 90s, actually. And in this article, Keanu Reeves talks about breaking free from the Matrix. But really, that's what the movie of The Matrix is about. It's about us breaking free from our own enslavement of these limiting beliefs, patterns that come from this lifetime, but also from many of the past lifetimes that we've experienced. And so now is the time to really start doing that deep inner work in ourselves. And so what's really keeping us from keeping our open heart is our own traumas, the past pains and the hurts. And so rightly so. I mean, it happens. We're human. We're living in a duality. We're living in the shadow and the light, right? The shadow aspects being the fear, the light being the love. And so, yeah, I've experienced it myself. Like I was just sharing my personal experience with me trying to kickstart what I was being called to do as an energy healer. But I also experienced it before when I was, going out of my divorce and my own romantic relationship. And I did have a lot of issues trying to open my heart again and being able to trust in the same way. But I felt that there were many layers that came not just from that experience, but came from the many past lives. And that's when I decided I really wanted to dig into my own energetic negative patterns that were holding me back from having a healthy relationship and being open again to my own trust. And so there is an aspect also of wanting and the willingness to want to do it, to really want to make that change in yourself and really dig into those different layers. And by all means, I'm not even saying that I'm perfect either for having done that work. It's just, it's a work in progress, and what we do as humans here on earth, everything's a learning experience and what we're doing and the journey that we're all on. And that's really what it is. It's a journey. It's a journey of self-discovery, a journey of our own expansion and ascension. And so these are times to celebrate. At the same time, it could be frightening if the change is making you really look at a change that will redefine you and your whole identity. And I feel that this year will also bring up even an identity change or a different aspect of you that you didn't realize that you had. And when the truth is revealed, it can be very shocking because it's almost like a bursting of the bubble, as some people call it. So you burst your own reality of the reality that you built and created around you. And then to find, the truth in something else can be a shock and a wake-up call, just like a heartbreak. And when it comes to loss in romantic relationships or other forms of loss. So there is definitely, a lot of work that happens inside of us to that level. And for us to be able to break free from the matrix, as the article says, to break, when they're talking about the matrix, they're really talking about the 3D And what they're talking about 3D is being in the veil. So being having your eyes closed, seeing this image of a veil over your eyes and not seeing very clearly, being confused, being lost, and being afraid. But when that veil is lifted, there is more clarity and more awareness of, the things to come. There is a bit of a knowingness from your inner self guiding you, and your own heart, of course. That's where it all starts, giving you the courage and the strength to move forward. So when I speak of the Sacred Heart, I am speaking that Sacred Heart is inside of all of us, and is really a portal, and it's a portal of being into this higher love. And when I say higher love, I'm speaking of joy. They're both the same words. So it's going much deeper into your own self-love and compassion, and expanding into that trust and openness, and knowing that you can still open your heart with trust, because you're safe with your own energy of your own Sacred Heart. And so, I share these messages because of my own personal experience, so that you're able to also take away from information from it. And I'm not saying that all of this will happen overnight with the changes. Of course, there's much work to do. But of course, if the messages that I share do help you and they do make those permanent changes, then I applaud you and I'm happy for you and I congratulate you, of course. But, I share them because I feel like it's a start somewhere to help you with your own healing journey if you need it. And also to serve as a reminder, for sometimes, we forget these things, and it's okay, to have reminders from others. And so, now being this age of Aquarius, this is the time to also be in our own tribe, in our own community of support. And so we are in our own heart tribe of support. So just to share 3 sacred keys with you about helping you to get into your own trust is: 1, you want to acknowledge if you're feeling something that is blocking you. Like, take, for example, a few seconds, right? And just imagine yourself, what it would feel like to open your heart and to be in the energy of trust. And how does that make you feel? Just feel into it. Just feel with your heart. You will open your heart, the trust. So if it's making you feel great, that is the way the energy is making you feel with so much love and safety. But if you're feeling that there is a still layer that's causing you to stay blocked and you're afraid to really open, it's because of that pain, those layers that are still there. And something is holding you back from keeping your heart open and your own self-love energy. Because it's safe to have your open heart. That's the way it should feel. Safe and loving. Because the energy of love is much stronger. And it will just build on the trust. Build on the compassion. Build on the confidence. Build on your own worthiness. So yes, thank you for sharing that, Linda, but not very easy right now. And I do understand that, when there's pain of something holding us back, it does feel hurtful still. It feels like you're hitting a wall, right? It's like you want to imagine it, you want to tune in, but there's something still there that is holding you back from that. So first of all, going back to the sacred keys that I was talking about, is acknowledging that you have that part in you. So that is the first step, and that is the huge step to take when you acknowledge it, because you're admitting it to yourself and you're becoming aware of it. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of courage to do that. It takes a lot of courage to admit to it and acknowledge it. So I applaud those who really acknowledge it and share information like that, because it takes tremendous amount of courage. And that is the first step in helping you break free from your own limiting pattern, to be aware of it. So the second sacred key is to take note of what your heart is feeling. So after you spend some time acknowledging it, you want to also write down or journal your feelings and what your heart is telling you, what's holding you back from wanting to keep your heart open, what pain is being felt, and just write down whatever it is that your heart wants to tell you. Which leads into the third sacred key, which is to be honest with yourself and just stay open and true to what message wants to come through from your heart, and just write it down. So that trust also, starts within yourself. So these three sacred keys help you in trusting yourself as well. So that's where it all starts, is to start opening up within yourself with your own trust. And so that's where the trust will expand to others, when you start to trust yourself. Because in a way, when we're lacking in trust, we're also lacking in the trust in ourselves, because we feel that hurt and trust tied together within ourselves. It's almost like we are in pain because we made a mistake, or we regret doing something in the past, or some choice that we made. And so now we almost feel like we don't want to trust ourselves for making that choice. I know for me, from my personal experience, when I went through my own divorce, I said, well, how can I trust myself in having an opinion with man in relationships? So yeah, it was one of those things that I had to face myself and just open up to my own love, which led into my own trust. So you see, they tie together. And so there's also the aspect of worthiness. And I'm one who suffered a lot from worthiness and doubt. I laugh now, but it's such a true story that I just share the experience. I know some people are going through it. And, it's one of those things that just we learn through time and human experience. And we just learn from that lesson and embrace it, because now I find myself that even when I am becoming in doubt, I bring myself back home into my own sacred heart. And that's really where the sacred heart is. It's your own home. It's like an anchoring point of balance. So the sacred heart is part of the ascension. So when you start going into the ascension, you start bringing into your own sacred heart, it will accelerate more of the ascension energy, because it is bringing you to that self-love, anchoring energy of balance. Because, as being still human, we're still going to deal with some of these shadows, aspects happening in the world, being the polarity and the duality. And we're going to see a lot of that. And even, in our own life experience with our family or friends, and just remembering of our focus to bring ourselves back into our own sacred heart, our own home, and our own balance, and that being our own self-love. So just wanted to share that with you, and I hope that this information will help you with your own journey when it comes to opening your heart and trust. And would love to hear more feedback and comments from you if it's been supportive, or if you have questions on something. And of course, I welcome other topic suggestions if you have any for future messages as well, and what messages you would love to hear, what messages have helped you with some of these love wisdom messages. So like I mentioned in the beginning, I was feeling the impulse, the energetic impulse actually, from my guides to be sharing more love wisdom messages through Facebook Live as well as YouTube. So I may increase my YouTube messages as well with other videos. So I also welcome you to my YouTube channel, and just, thank you for subscribing so that you're informed of new messages that come in. I invite you over to the channel if you haven't gone already. And just a reminder as well that next week, actually Friday, January 15th, on Friday, I'll be live on the radio show, Love Light, Living in the Spirit of Love, with Dr. Jean Farish. And this will be my first time coming out in podcast shows, so I would love to have your heart presence and connection during that time. It's at 12 p.m. Eastern Time or 9 a.m. Pacific Time. I have posted the link on my Facebook group. So I hope that you're able to join in and tune in. And this will be a big deal for me, coming out and speaking out to the world and making a presence out there for so many who need to hear the message. And there's definitely, a lot of that we need in this world right now. We need more heart center, more heart focus, more heart balance, love right now, with all the energies coming through. Because love is always present within us. It's just a matter of shedding the layers of limiting beliefs and limiting emotions, or, shadow aspects of the emotion that keep that part buried in there, or the mud, or clearing the mud, or in other words, using the analogy of polishing the diamond. Because we are diamonds ourselves, but, there's just so much crap or trauma or experience that we have, as humans, that, just kind of like keeps the mirror or keeps the windows and keeps us all clogged up and fogged up. So it's just cleaning that up to bring you back home to who you truly are, because you already have that inside of you. Love is already a huge part of you. And so just remember that you have the strength, the power, and the will within yourself to really make that change and really break free from those patterns that have been enslaving you. And, that's where the energy is taking us. So change will come one way or another. So you want to make the most of it. And of course, you always have help. Don't feel that you can do things alone. Your guides, number one, are there to really help you. And of course, there's, so many mentors and coaches and energy healers out there who can also help you. So I do hope that, these messages do inspire and help you. And thank you so much for your comments again, and for sharing the messages with so many others out there who need to hear the message. And I'm sending you so much love, and I'm wishing you all the best in everything that you're doing. So just remember, you're loved and you are loved. So much love to you. Take care.